Lots to talk about today on the show. First, we'll start off with UFA signings, along with who's potential targets for free agent frenzy, which happens on Friday. Very exciting stuff, obviously. Back with episode 99 of Last Man In podcast. Dan, Cam, and Greg here. Other things we'll be talking about today on the show. We'll touch on the NHL awards, also who's going to be on the cover of NHL 17, and a few oddball things that have happened in the hockey world recently that we can touch on as well, including what's happening with our favorite hockey station that plays hockey in Canada. But first, before we start everything, guys, listeners of the podcast, we taught Dan a skill today before the podcast started.
Moments ago, we were there. When
it just happened.
Okay, Aziz Ansari saw 50 Cent eat a grapefruit, find out what a grapefruit was.
Yeah.
We saw Dan learn how to right-click, open a new tab on a computer.
He finally learned what the greatness of Google Chrome is by being able to have multiple tabs open from a single right click.
Now he's streamlining his process. It's not going back and forth. It's
guys,
together.
Productivity just tripled.
yeah. Guys, as we're live streaming the podcast, Dan's taking my job. It's over.
Yes.
These are the things that you tell your grandchildren about. This is the moment right here.
So
Dan
much more time for activities.
Exactly.
Oh, so much more time.
He doesn't have to open a new tab, then type in that address, and then get back to the other part. He can just open new tabs.
Bam. Just tab, 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 tab.
That's what I do with Reddit No Sleep. When there's like a 5-parter, and it's like part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open new tabs, read all the parts.
Hey, speaking of No Sleep, I just realized I didn't tell you this. On Sunday afternoon, our mutual friend of ours and myself went to go see Conjuring 2, and it was a top notch.
I told you.
Here's my thing. Cam, want to go see Conjuring after last podcast on Saturday? Want to go see Conjuring 2 tonight?
You guys didn't go together.
No. Cam didn't even fucking tell me.
You were busy. Sunday afternoon.
I'm not busy Sunday afternoon.
You were BBQ Sunday noon.
Classic.
Yeah, until 3.
Well, the movie was at 4.
You text me.
The movie was at 4.
I can make arrangements.
Fantastic film.
It was real good.
I bet it was.
Top and notch.
Now I'm gonna wait for it to come out on DVD because of you.
It's worth watching.
It's a movie.
I'm not going by myself
Dan,
to watch a movie.
Not an end credit scene.
No,
I waited the whole time.
No, but there was. She was in the
I
movie.
did, yeah, Annabelle, I
briefly.
saw it. I know.
I'm not impressed.
Worst part? My house.
Oh, dude, okay, I threw the popcorn. Like, I almost pooed my pants. I was that one guy, like, so loud, everyone was laughing behind me. Sorry, Greg.
A callback to a previous episode.
You know how, like, this...
When is it okay to not poo in your pants anymore?
It's never not okay. You gotta treat yourself once in a while.
And poo yourself.
Have you ever been lying in your bed and you're like, I don't want to get up, and you've pissed?
No!
I've done it.
Are we really going back to this?
Just put a plastic cover on your bed underneath you. I got one. So when
I was 7, I had one.
No, I got one now. It's called a sleeping pad.
Why don't you just wear a diaper?
I could find
Depends.
Depends. I'm sure there's Depends in my house. My parents are a little older than I. I know they have accidents these days. Come on, you guys have never woken up and pissed your bed? So, like, recently?
No.
I've done it since one of the last podcasts. Legit.
What?
Yeah.
You must have a weak bladder then.
My bladder is the Sidney Crosby in corner of bladders.
Unless somehow I get so drunk that when I wake up in the morning, I don't drink. No. Unless I get so drunk that I wake up in the morning that I've been passed out for so long that it's already dried, I don't think I've ever done it. For a very, very long time.
If you go see Conjuring 2, you might the next morning.
Or I might poop myself while I'm watching it.
Yep. Just remember, this is my house.
Yeah.
Paige, not the wrestler.
For a 2.5 hour movie, it's literally nonstop. What the fuck?
Yeah, my heart...
There's no, like, slow parts where you're like, this is boring. It's like...
It gets you in the daytime, too, now. That's not even a spoiler.
Guys.
Great.
Go see Conjuring 2. We were not paid for this advertisement.
No.
But Conjuring 2...
But I will endorse it. As potentially the best scary movie I've ever seen.
Wow. That is an endorsement.
It's up there.
Do you know what also is a scary movie?
It's up there.
The Edmonton Oilers from 2007 to today.
That's a scary nightmare.
That's a scary nightmare.
That's a nightmare, though. That's not like a...
Going into kind of what they need to do, one of the biggest things that's come out recently, they are going hard after Milan Lucic. Now, what do you guys think about Milan Lucic joining the already Oilers.
Guys, Milan Lucic, ever since he joined the league, everyone wants Milan Lucic. So he gets to set the bar on who Milan Lucic is, because he is that. He's asking probably for like 6 years, like $6 million each.
That's so much money.
You know what you could get for 6 years, $6 million?
Yeah.
A formidable defenseman.
Why does everyone want him so badly?
Well,
he's an extremely average, antagonist.
But he's a factor in any game he plays in, because you have to keep note of where he is on the ice.
But
here's the thing.
He's not going to win you a Stanley Cup.
Milan Lucic is entering the twilight of his career. He won a Stanley Cup. I think he was one of the better players in that 2011 Stanley Cup run. But he's entering the twilight of his career in it.
But he hasn't been in his 30s. He hasn't been that player since.
But you're paying a guy for $6 million for what he did in the past, not what he's going to do for you now. And Edmonton, who's going to be one of these teams that in 3 years has to sign Puljujarvi, Leon Draisaitl, Taylor Hall to an extension, and Connor McDavid to money.
Darnell Nurse. There's so many more names.
Well, but what I'm saying is, I don't think Darnell Nurse
They're going to be just bleeding money.
Obviously, they got to get rid of Eberle and Yakupov or something to make this Lucic deal make sense. But then on the other side of the coin, they shouldn't go after him. He's not a formidable player for that team. He's a player that can go into a team that needs a win-now approach. That's what he was meant to do in LA, and he helped them get to the playoffs again last year. But he needs to go to a team that's in a win-now mindset, like the Vancouver Canucks, who spoke with him yesterday. And that's the new thing. Before we go over any more UFA stuff, the new thing is you now have this window of about 5 days. So after the draft is over on Saturday, you can actually talk to UFAs until July 1st. You just can't really make a solid concrete deal. You can be like, okay, what are you looking for in a team? What's kind of the right fit between players and teams? Also during this period was offer sheets, which we'll get to, or not offer sheets, sorry, qualifying offers, which we'll also get to, because my heart was broken. But continue.
Okay. Well, no, I was just going to say, follow up. There's a date. It says, I just have all the dates here. June 20th, restricted free agents made contact with clubs, including their own, regarding potential interest, but may not sign new SPC, so I guess that's contract.
Yep.
Or offer sheets until the opening of RFA UFA signing period, so obviously the first. The 30th, setting of upper and lower limits. First buyout period ends 5 p.m. New York time. That is Eastern Standard Time.
So, okay.
Setting of upper lower limits is in regards to the cap, and the cap this year has been set at, all right. So lower limit, $54 million. You have to hit 54. Upper limit, $73 million. Midpoint, $63.5 million. So it went up, like $2 million? $1.5 million?
$1 million, probably. Yeah.
$1 million?
Yeah, I think it was around 72 last year.
Yeah.
The thing about this is, because we are a Jets podcast, that's probably where the Jets are going to be. Is right around that $63 million mark. Because right now they're below the floor. They're at like 53 or something like that, and still have Trouba and Scheifele to sign, which are definitely priorities number 1 and 2.
They'll be at the midpoint just with those two guys.
No,
probably.
No way.
Yeah. They're 53.
That's $10 million.
Yeah,
that's probably going to be $12 million.
Right.
Yep. So they'll be right at the midpoint right there. But to go back to where we were, Milan Lucic, talking with his hometown team, the team that he ostracized in the 2011 Stanley Cup Final. Whew, Jim Benning. Now we'll talk more about Jim Benning in a bit, but what do you think of Milan Lucic going to Vancouver or even Edmonton?
I could totally see him going to either of them, because they're going to pay out the yin-yang, because I don't think anyone else is going to be willing to pay the money that he wants. And it's not like he's going to a Carolina where I doubt they make playoffs. Actually, you know what? I can't even make fun of Carolina anymore. I might take Carolina's core over Vancouver's, not Edmonton's. Yep. But Edmonton, they just need the right pieces. They keep drafting the same players, but I mean...
The problem with Edmonton is they keep adding to their strong point. They keep adding to their forwards.
This is very true.
Why?
Well, I mean, normally...
To eventually get a defenseman, which they'll never get.
But they...
Well, actually, there's a...
And overpay for a guy like Andrej Sekera. And they'll probably overpay to get a Jason Demers?
Well,
And
He
free
wants,
agency.
he wants like $5.5 million.
He's worth $5.5 million.
He's worth $5.5
you guys,
$1,000.
Edmonton's actually had
That's
the
not
piece.
true.
No,
There's
he's
a-
worth more. But
There's
I mean,
a reason you haven't heard about Yakubov, Eberle, or Draisaitl. They're actually training in Denver up in a mountain. They're going to be the top 3 defensemen next year.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, they're
switching to defense.
They're building
Well,
from within.
It sounds
Yakupov being a defenseman, that's a bold choice.
Well, they flipped a coin and he got the offensive one, so he doesn't have to work that hard.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Justin Schultz played D, so I'm sure Yakubov can do it.
It's pretty apparent though that Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is probably not going to be on that team when the season starts.
Nope, I don't think so either.
And one of the sports writers at Edmonton today said if they sign Lucic, he thinks Taylor Hall's gone because they have $18 million in their top 3 left wingers. Then
Who's their other left winger?
Pouliot.
Wow.
So-
Yay! Well, yeah, 'cause
and
Pouliot,
Taylor Hall gets you
Pouliot
a
makes-
star defenseman.
Yeah, Pouliot
But-
makes
Pouliot
4.
gets you.
Taylor Hall also probably gets you 40 or 30 goals a year.
You don't.
Moving forward.
Yeah.
You don't bust. You need a duo, right? You need duos. We
Or,
always talked about this.
or your
McDavid,
first line can
Puljujarvi,
be Taylor Hall, Connor McDavid,
and noodles.
and Jesse Puljujarvi.
Noodles.
All 3 of them are probably going to be Olympians in 2022.
What?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be 2018?
No, we're giving McDavid and Hall an extra year to let some of the older guys fizzle out.
You're saying McDavid and Taylor Hall don't make Team
I'm
Canada.
not saying they don't. I'm saying Puljujarvi might not make it in 2018.
He's the surefire out of those 3. I would consider... Dude, it's Finland. They're not
That's
that...
true.
Well, I shouldn't say that. They
won world championships without him this year. That's my argument.
They don't need him.
championships.
They came second in world championships
He
without
got the Ivan Halenka, yeah.
I know.
Well, yeah, sure. How is that? Hold on. Let's just go way off.
Yeah.
How are you allowed to be a player, play at the World Juniors against under 20, and then be like, oh yeah, you know what? Let's play against kids who are literally still growing. Yeah, that's fair. Let's go play against some 15-year-olds and just mop shop. If you play at the World Juniors, you shouldn't be allowed to play at the Ivan Halenka. Put me on the board, Ken.
That's age. It's all about age.
I know, but that's not fair. That's just...
Sure, Canadians have done it.
Yeah.
Many have.
I don't. I just think as a whole that's not
Fair
fair.
enough.
But
Fair enough.
back to it.
Milan Lucic.
Oh my god.
Does he end up
Why?
with Vancouver?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I hope he does.
He will. Vancouver.
We've established he's not worth the money. Where do you most likely see him signing?
Vancouver, they didn't qualify Radim Verbata, so he can wear 17, obviously.
Oh my God, Radim Vibrata.
The Verbata.
I see. Okay, let's shift gears here. Let's go back to the Jets. And what do you see the Jets doing come free agent time?
Stand pat.
Stand pat
They
with
have
what
all the
they
pieces.
have.
What do they need?
I can see them adding maybe a 3rd or 4th line, like a veteran guy, like a Lee Stepniak. He's available. Bring him back. I'm just saying. But they're one of the 5 teams apparently heavily going after Kyle Okposo.
Yes.
Which is interesting because he would not be cheap.
And he would not
And
be a third liner.
He would be a top 6 for sure.
But it also...
apparently him and Blake Wheeler are very good friends too. I did not know that.
It gives you...
They played together in Minnesota.
What gutting
know that.
Okposo gives you is it gives you the opportunity to wait on a guy like Connor for a slow start.
Yeah, okay.
So-
all right.
What I think the focus shouldn't be is why would we pay a third line player, a guy that's going to play on our third line, like $5 million, which Okposo is probably going to make. I think the
He would
argument
not
needs
be
to...
third line.
No,
No,
this is the argument I'm making.
Oh, got it.
Is when you look at it, realistically, what the line will probably turn out to be next year, I wouldn't be surprised, is obviously Ehlers, Scheifele, Wheeler. Then you probably have Connor with Little and
Line.
Yeah.
And then you could probably slot Okposo in alongside Lowry and Perreault, which gives you a big third
Stafford
line.
and Perreault, I'd say.
And then you have Stafford as well. But that allows you depth for injuries and depth for scoring. And if these young guys don't come in and make a big scene right away,
You're
like
buying
Connor,
time for
exactly.
development.
Yeah.
I did not even think about that.
And they could afford him. They have the cap space.
Why not?
But what kind
Yeah.
of deal does he want? Like
Probably 5 by
years?
5.
I'd say he wants more than that.
Maybe
He had 65,
Oh, man.
65 points last year. He had 70 somewhat a couple years ago.
It's the thing is it gives more flexibility for the Jets, and the other possibility. I would hate to see it, but it would give them a chance to shop other guys around to get another defenseman. I think that's the weakest point for the Jets is their depth at D. you got good top guys in Bufflin and Trouba and Myers, but it's those other three that are unsure right now.
Yeah, like
you have
Harrison. Well, I guess he's gone now. But you got like your Postma, your Kitchen, your
Stewart,
Melchiori.
Yeah.
But the issue is not like one thing the Jets have is they have right defensemen up the wazoo. They have probably the best 3 right D that you could have on one team at one time. There's no team that has better right defensemen than them, and that's a tough thing to get. They need to focus on the other side. And they need to get deeper at both ends of their decor. If that makes sense, on the offensive side and the defensive
The
side.
wrinkle that Okposo would throw in is then you have to protect him next year.
But do you?
Well, why not?
But why do you? Why don't you expose him? And then he's...
Well, why would you sign
Why
a
would you go
contract?
after
But then, here's the thing. If you want to wait on a guy like Laine, or you want to wait on a guy like Connor, he's probably going to be ready in a year. He'll have a year of pro experience. Because Connor, the biggest problem with transition from going from college to pro is the number of games you play.
And speed.
But...
Actually, take that back. We already know he's fast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the stress of travel, because he's playing in Boston. They didn't really have to travel all that much. So he has to... there's a transition. There's a transition from college life to pro life. And if he doesn't slot in right away, people should know that we have a guy on Okposo. And it makes a perfect target for a team like Las Vegas. They want to bring in a guy. There's a guy you can bring in.
He's on a contract that, you're like...
It's affordable.
Don't hate it. Depending on what he gets, safe at 5'5". No, don't hate it. And boom, he could be one of your building blocks.
Exactly. And then it also allows them to not have to protect Stafford or,
he's a free agent anyway, so
he's a free agent next year. Okay.
They don't have to.
I don't know.
So,
But
unless they resign.
And the other thing, too, is it gives them, by signing a guy like him to an affordable deal, it gives them the possibility to use some of their other players to make moves, especially at deadline. And as much as I'd hate to have Drew Stafford on the 4th line, you could do it, and you could run 4 lines and be one of the deepest teams in the NHL. What having Okposo brings you to your team is another depth guy who's going to put up a lot of points. What he might do is he could make Brian Little 30-goal scorer again next season, especially if Brian Little's playing on a line with Laine himself and Okposo. That is a line I don't want to play
Brian Little's
against.
a trigger man. That's what I was thinking. On that line, Brian Little trigger
100%.
man. That's why you drafted Laine.
Yeah.
Give Brian the puck. Stay out of his way, Patrick. Learn some lessons.
All I'm saying
100%.
is why Brian Little scored all those goals his first year. He's playing with Kovalchuk, who's getting rebounds.
False, he wasn't.
He wasn't. Who was he playing with?
With the little white Russian line. God damn it.
They all had 78 points. It was
they
stupid.
were unstoppable.
Todd White, Vyacheslav Kozlov, and Brian Little.
Okay,
Who?
fair enough.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, no, there you go.
OG fan.
If you ever want to test Stan, first off, just ask him for his grade 3 picture, because that's his caller ID.
People's eyebrow in a Thrashers jersey.
Yeah, that's it.
Realistically, Brian Little could be the garbage guy that finishes everything off, while Okposo is the tough guy that establishes his own presence if Connor's not ready next season. It just gives you that level of depth. Is it the perfect move? No, but it is a possibility.
It gives you what many teams need and want. Options.
Exactly. And I'd love to see Kyle Okposo on the Toronto Maple Leafs for one reason and one reason only. Entice Johnny T to go there next year. Because...
the Stammer train has ended as a left station?
Well, for me at least. But
you don't think?
one last point on Okposo. You wanted to say something.
Well, I'm just saying there's always potential too that they're gonna have a lot of forwards they have to keep if they sign. But to me, the fact that there's rumors that they're going after him hard means they might not be they might not be going as young as they did last year. They might be going, okay, let's slow this down a little bit. Let's bring somebody in. So maybe they will. I don't know. I'm not expecting them to add somebody huge, but.
And if you want to sell Moose tickets, a great way to do that is having either Laine or Connor down there for a year.
You're in your mind if you don't think...
Hey! He's missing rookie camp for knee injury. Let's give the man time to fully recover.
He came to Winnipeg 2 days after his draft. He's making the damn team.
The other thing, too, is I don't see in a realm of possibility that Alex Bermishov is on that opening day roster. No. He'll either be in the press box or he'll be...
we know he's not playing in the AHL because he didn't want to go last time. And then he went to Russia.
Yeah.
But
he just hasn't been good enough.
Yeah.
And I really think they're going to have to try and move Enstrom because with that many forwards, they're probably going to have to go the 7-3-1 route, and there's no way your 3 can't be Bufflin, Trouba, Myers.
They got to move Enstrom.
So I think Enstrom, they'll retain 50 to 70% of salary if they have to.
They will.
Okay, you know what? Another fix. I'll get Chevy to call Chiarelli. We're going to send Burmy to Denver as well.
Oh, to become a defenseman.
Burmy, left shot, boom.
Defenseman.
Fixed. Toby, expendable.
There we go. Now, probably the most attractive free agent, Steven Stamkos. What do you guys think? Obviously, rumors are going everywhere. Buffalo, Detroit,
Guys,
Toronto, Montreal, Tampa Bay.
I don't know. And
All teams.
Buffalo, right?
I said Buffalo.
Okay. Sorry.
Pretty much every team in the Atlantic Division wants him. Minus the Boston Bruins.
Okay.
Because they're set on centers.
Okay, word of advice. Philly, please, God, no. No. Stop it! Just draft and use your guys. Come on! I don't want to...
And sign Radko Gudas
Stop! They're
for
one
stupid
of the
money.
alleged front runner. Okay.
Flyers? I've never heard that.
Flyers are like...
I've heard
Flyers, Bruins, and Detroit that I've heard.
I've heard Toronto, Buffalo, Boston, and Detroit are the...
So Boston is on it. So every team in the Atlantic wants him except for the
guys.
Panthers.
I've also heard that Winnipeg, Calgary, who else is in the league?
You got to think of the pieces.
12
teams.
Right?
I'm pretty sure everybody wants him.
12 teams have aggressively gone after Stamkos, or have aggressively spoken.
I'm pretty sure every team wants him.
Exactly. What were you going to say about Radko Gudas? That he's not worth the money he got.
He's very worth the money.
Can we not talk about that, please?
Okay, can we forecast where Steven Stamkos is going to go?
Yeah, I loved him too much. I'm not calling it because I didn't say I called it when the news was already out there. I loved him too much. He's going to the place I loathe the most. He's going to Detroit.
Detroit.
The sleazy Mr. Holland.
I'll
the
be honest.
mecha god that is Holland.
Okay, Detroit is where I would love to see him. But
I don't want to see him.
I think he's going to Buffalo.
They have no
I have a bad feeling that he's going to Buffalo.
Here's the thing about Buffalo.
Because he likes to lose.
Crazy thing about Buffalo is Ryan O'Reilly can play center and wing and give Stamkos the ability and gives you some depth, I guess, at that number one position. But they're already paying Ryan O'Reilly $7.5 million. Stamkos is probably going to make about 12, maybe 11 if he's going to Buffalo. That's $18 million in your top two centers. That's like paying Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taves. That's the money we're talking. That's Malkin Crosby money.
You have to do that to establish your team. To establish your team, you got to pay the money.
Okay, then fine. Ryan O'Reilly overpaid them.
Yeah, I'm
How much does he make a year?
7.5.
About too much.
7 Tim Hortons worth.
Oh, way too much.
No, he's in the value. Oh, Tim says you buy in for $1 million now?
Yeah.
I thought it was like 700,000.
I'm pretty sure it's $1 million.
Woo!
Yeah.
Wait, Ryan O'Reilly. I mean, we already know him and Tim.
That was the joke I was making.
Oh god!
Yeah.
Wow.
My prediction with.
You know what? Here, let's
Detroit.
go around the teams.
No, one quick prediction with Detroit. If they don't get Stamkos, they're going to sign David Backes.
Actually, they're
good. Go there.
Something came out today. Apparently, their Detroit's wish list in order is Stamkos, then Franz Nielsen, then Milan Lucic.
Oh, look at that scary team! Ooh. I think now
that's their wish list. So Stamkos is the one they want the most. But
Franz Nielsen, another good guy.
If they fall short though of getting Stamkos, I read a good article. If I could find it, I'll tweet it. Why not go ignore I mean, obviously I want to see the streak end, but ignore the fact that you have the streak. Now's the time for Detroit to kind of pull back a bit.
Why not?
2 to 3 year mini rebuild? My God, they're Grand Rapids Griffins. They're a good damn team.
But here's the thing.
They don't need to rebuild.
No, I'm saying pull back, don't spend the money on Stan or take you know what I mean?
A retool season for them could do wonders. They would be able to wait patiently on Jimmy Howard on a trade for him or something to him to Vegas. They could really figure out how the whole summer of next year is going to play out with the expansion to Las Vegas. It could really be as much of a negative thing it could be by them losing the streak. It could make their team stronger going forward. They have the pieces to be a playoff team again this year, but instead of overpaying guys in free agency, they should really step back and see what's going to happen for next summer.
Just thought of something, and I heard it from a podcast that Greg and I listened to. It was excellent. Steve Daigle with General Manager was so good.
Yeah.
You're right. Why not Detroit wait until next year? Double offer sheet Kucherov and Johnson.
Why not?
Fuck it. Why not? The chances are, he was explaining it, that they're going to sign one of them and then let one of them walk. Do it. Do it. Why not? I would do it.
They'll probably sign
Johnson and then
the
let
Johnson
Kucherov.
and let Kucherov go.
Okay, great. Now you have Kucherov, Abdelkader, Mantha.
And if they say you,
And-
Larkin.
Oh, Larkin, who was the Blues. Did you see what the Blues asked?
Yes,
No.
I did. It was ridiculous.
What did the Blues ask?
Detroit wanted Kevin Shattenkirk, so they said, "Well, we want Dylan Larkin."
Straight up, they're like, "Oh, you want Shattenkirk? Larkin."
See,
You know where
everyone
that phone call
forgets.
ended? There. That's where.
Everyone forgets what the Blues gave up for Shattenkirk. Do you guys remember that trade?
I do.
Chris Stewart and
Chris
Eric Johnson.
Chris Stewart and Eric Johnson for Kevin Shattenkirk, and what was the other piece?
No, the other
Colorado?
piece was the piece, wasn't it? Or was it for Shattenkirk?
No,
Oh.
it was Shattenkirk and
No, it was Shattenkirk and Elliott, I think.
maybe.
Brian Elliott? Well, no,
I think it was
I'll
no,
Google
Brian.
it.
Yeah,
It was
Google
a 2-for-2.
It was a 2-for-2, but at the time, people were like, "Well, Johnson's going to do a lot in Colorado." I don't like. They fleeced Colorado in that
Well,
deal.
nowadays, that's like the Shen Simmons deal with the Kings and Flyers. It's like
Yeah.
Simmons was the let's
mean-
top it off, and now he's the guy, and Shen's like, okay.
It's like the JVR Luke Shen deal. Thank you, bro.
I don't think that happened.
Yep.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I believe
No,
that
okay.
was what happened.
Shattenkirk and Stewart went to St. Louis.
Okay.
Yes, that's what
and
we're
what
saying.
came back?
And what
They
came back?
got
Oh,
Eric
Johnson.
Johnson and Jay McClement.
Jay McClement. Yeah, yeah, they got absolutely fleeced in that deal.
They got the
Well,
worst first overall pick in the last 30 years. Okay, sorry, Patrick Stefan's the worst first overall.
Yeah,
pick.
let's pull
The
back.
second
on-
worst first overall.
What about Daigle? Stefan Daigle?
Alexander Daigle
Yeah.
or Dag. Once again, let's
Yeah.
bring it back here.
Bring it on back now.
Without focusing too much on Detroit, you're saying take a step back, retool this summer.
If I'm going Detroit, okay. If we're going back to Stamkos though, and
Yeah.
I'm picking a team,
Mhm.
stay in Tampa.
Okay.
Stay in
I
Tampa.
agree.
Take years off. Take years off. Take a bit of a discount. Get the bit. You'll get your cup.
I'm
You'll
telling you.
get one.
Here's my question.
Okay, you go.
Why is it such... I understand stability in your contract. You're fucking Steven Stamkos. Go sign a 1 year with Tampa.
No, this change.
No,
with Tampa.
Sign a 1 year with Tampa. And then next year, when the cap's probably going to go up, you can get more money and have Las Vegas ringing your doorbell saying, "We'll pay you every cent we have."
But it also stands for. Steven Stamkos right now is in a pretty interesting predicament that not many players
Very
get
true.
to in all of hockey ever get to experience. He controls his own destiny, but with that, this could taint his legacy like big time.
If
Like
he goes
he's
too much
going to be the lesson if he decides, Kate, I'm going to go to blank and blank for blank.
The last person to do this, sorry to interrupt you, was Ilya Kovalchuk. And we all know how that ended up. This was the last time such a marquee name was leaving. Like, this isn't the 80s anymore where big name captains leave their towns and go to sign where the money is. Like, think about all the number one picks. They are pretty much with the teams that drafted them, minus Eric Johnson. Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Alex Ovechkin,
Patrick Kane.
Jonathan Taves. You go down the list, Claude Giroux's another one of them. Like, the only big guys that have really moved, Mike Richardson and Jeff Carter that I can think of, because both Perry and Getzlaf are still in the same spot.
Oh, you're talking just high caliber first round picks?
Just high caliber first round. Most of them, even top 10 player. I know that Carter and Richards aren't top 10, but
They were
those
back
are the
then, though.
those are the
Those are
only
pretty
guys.
close.
They weren't
Okay,
top 10
picks. Sorry.
But
Yeah.
those are the only guys I can think of that haven't been with their teams. The Sedins have been there forever. It's been a trend since, I guess, 2000 pretty much, that when you sign with a team, you stay there. So this is an example for both GMs and for Steven Stamkos. And yeah, you're right. It could taint his legacy.
But I
never thought about that.
Everyone's focusing so much on the money that maybe people need to step back and realize he doesn't like it in Tampa. He doesn't like John Cooper, because I don't think he does.
I think that there isn't that...
Because you know what, quite frankly, if he wanted to be there and they wanted him bad enough, he'd have signed by now.
Hold on.
There's no reason he wouldn't have.
I
This is very
100%
true.
agree, but maybe... Okay, now that you're here, you ran literally 4/5 of the marathon. And you're already like, okay, well, don't sign a contract now. Taste the water. See what's out there.
Yeah.
Just to see what you're going to get. You're going to get... I bet you, like, hypothetically, Detroit, they're going to literally carte blanche. Be like, here you go.
But you
Keys
have
of the city.
You have to keep in mind, though, like, Dustin Byfuglien, for example, could have come out this year as the second biggest free agent in the NHL. he is in the same situation. He had his pick of the litter, and he said, "You know what? I like it here, so I'm staying."
But there's also like that's a great point. I agree with you 100%.
If Stamkos loves Tampa, why is it so hard for him to come to a
here's the thing,
contract?
Is I feel that would have been the same way with Andrew Ladd. Andrew Ladd loved playing here, but he wasn't going to sign for the money that they wanted to give him. And maybe it's Stamkos' way of saying, you don't want to sign me, here's everybody else that is offering me, and he's going to leverage them into a corner and say, either give me this dollar amount that I ask for, or I'm going somewhere else. And it's tough to see a number one draft pick do that, and they're very lucky that guys like Kucherov and Palat and Tyler Johnson, Alex Killorn, JT Brown, and Cedric Paquette, all these guys have started emerging. By the way, JT Brown and Cedric Paquette both signed recently. You got two good role players for under $2 million combined for the next few years.
Not bad.
Cedric Paquette signed for about just over $700,000, and JT Brown is, I believe, 1.25. So very serviceable. Two very serviceable players for very good contracts.
Because I also think, just to wrap it up, out of Buffalo, Toronto, Detroit, Boston, Tampa, the team that the Stamkos has the best chance of winning a Stanley Cup with is Tampa Bay.
100%.
He signs with Tampa Bay, he's winning a cup before he signs with any of those other teams. So, I mean, why is it so hard to come to a contract? There's some, I personally don't think he wants to be there.
That's a very, very good point.
I don't think he does.
And it's going to be great when we come back next week and we discuss this more.
When he's hopefully signed.
The thing is somebody, Steve Dangle made a joke on Twitter today. He said, I'm going to hate it when, I'm paraphrasing, when this Stamkos thing gets dragged out to August. Because it's his choice. He can take as long as he fucking wants.
Well, remember...
Like, how do you know that, okay, 12 teams are interested now, it's mid-July, most teams are done, but then, Colorado, or for example, comes in and they're like, we'll give you $10 million, because they couldn't sign McKinnon or something, and they had to give McKinnon away. So now they sign Stamkos. So, like, he could just wait as long as he wants, because let's be honest, it's Steven Stamkos. You could sign him the last day before training camp. You know he's going to be the most in shape out of everybody else on that team.
Well, and you have to keep in mind, remember, however long ago Zach Parise, remember he was the big hotshot free agent, and there was the whole Parise watch, and his agent was at some office, and teams were coming to meet with him, and it went on all day, and they watched it, and he was the big fish, and then it took him 2 weeks to sign a contract.
Yep.
And, people are like, well, why the hell didn't he sign the first day? It could happen.
Well, it's your life changing.
So
you're moving.
It might happen it might happen on Friday, it might not.
Here's the other thing with Steven Stamkos is he's got a guy that's his trainer in Gary Roberts who's played in Toronto and could influence him that way. But I don't want to see him in Toronto. I've talked about it before. Don't want to see him there.
Okay, so short term, we're all on that. If he signs a short term, Tampa. My team, if it's long, Detroit. I love him too much. I blame myself. Damn.
I want him to go. Detroit, it would be my hope, but Buffalo, I don't know. Bad feeling.
Okay.
The team I don't want to see him go to is the Montreal Canadiens.
Okay, well, guys.
Any other team I'm happy with.
If I'm going to be super biased, I want him to go to Winnipeg. But that's not going to happen. So
we don't need him. Well, we do. It'd be great.
I would not say no.
No, you're not. If a 10 walks up to you on the street, Dan's excluded from this.
He can be in this game.
If Lights walks up to you in the middle of the street and says, I want to smush, you don't say no. She's
married and she has a child.
Take that out of the equation.
You don't
and
care.
She wants to smush. You don't care if you've got a girlfriend at home who's a 7 and you're like, well, I got to be with Lights.
It's
who's a 10.
Number one draft pick.
Exactly. That was a terrible analogy.
Yeah, it's a horrendous analogy. You could name many other people.
Great analogy. Brian Campbell. He's also a free agent. Where do you see him going? He was the only reason why I bring him up. The second highest paid free agent going into the season, behind Steven Stamkos.
Where do all aging offensive defensemen go?
Florida. He's already there.
No.
New Jersey.
Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to Detroit.
There's rumors he wants to go back to Chicago.
Oh, yeah. We want money.
Just
put me in Taylor's suitcase. I'll go. Come on.
Andrew Shaw's off the books.
Speaking of Andrew Shaw.
Brian Bickle's off the books.
Speaking of Shaw, 6 years at $3.9 million with the Montreal Canadiens.
See, that's reasonable for him. Anything more than that, not worth it.
Here's the thing with the Andrew Shaw
deal.
deal.
Talking 5.
That's true. We did say 4. Yeah, we did.
I still think it's too much, but
he's in. Let's put it in terms. He's making $600,000 more than Radko Gudas, and I'd pay any player $600,000 more than Radko Gudas,
Goddamn
as
right.
long as it's in a
You
reasonable
guys,
amount.
are we going to make a bet right now on the podcast?
Sure.
If Radko Gudas scores on the Jets next year in any of the 2 games they play each other, you guys have to get me a Treats of Pizza,
That's
and I'm
fine.
not sharing it, that says Radko Gudas is good.
Fine.
But good spelled G-U-D.
G-U-D?
G-U-D. So
G-U-D.
Radko Gudas.
He's good.
Okay.
No, Radko is Gudas.
Okay.
I don't even care if you get him to misspell right ass. Gudas.
Can we underline the G-U-D?
You may.
If he
It won't
Yeah.
happen,
And
so I'm
if
not
he-
worried.
2 games? You better
if
look
he
out.
gets sent down to the AHL, you owe us a Treats of Pizza.
There we go.
Sent to the A once?
Yes.
Yeah.
Done. Let's double shake this. Shaken, double shaken. Here you go.
Okay.
I'm writing this.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, no other really big signings, which was a little depressing. But the reason why my heart was broken, I mentioned it earlier, were qualifying offers were tendered out to RFAs. Let's say you had a restricted free agent that you didn't want to keep. You don't have to send him a qualifying offer. Then he becomes a UFA, and one of those players that became a UFA, sadly to say, Stuart Percy of the Toronto Maple Leafs is a UFA. So any other team that I like, Colorado or Winnipeg, please sign him because I like him. He's beautiful.
The Jets the Moose could use a guy like him.
Hey, not a bad guy
I'm
to
not
play in
saying he
the AHL.
deserves to
And
play
he's
in the
he's
AHL.
another postma who's going to be a fringe player and could potentially move into your top 6 at some point.
There's some interesting free agents though. Eric Stahl. People forget he's a free agent.
Yeah.
Where else we got here?
Shane Doan.
Shane Doan. Thomas Vanek.
Let's be honest, guys. Shane Doan is not leaving Arizona,
That's true.
and I would not be surprised if Eric Stahl signed in Arizona.
There's some, but
And would not be surprised if Thomas Vanek signed in Arizona because Arizona has every dollar that they need on their cap. They took Datsu's contract on because they're like, well,
That's the Bromy contract.
it really was. And they got Jacob Chitrin out of the deal. People watch out.
It's
Arizona's going to be good.
interesting.
They're going to be good. There's going to be lots to talk about next episode with free agent in regards to free agent frenzy.
This is preview of the free agent frenzy.
Yeah.
This
There's some
is the
interesting names.
stopgap.
This is the preview show that TSN does and is like, we're going to just have Bob McKenzie talk for a half hour
Bob.
and everyone watches it because it's TSN.
Troy Brower's up too, and he just had a good year with the Blues.
Very true.
There's some
Whoa!
interesting names.
Whoa! Oh, RFA.
Troy-
Never mind.
Who?
Tory Krug.
Yeah,
The
he's RFA.
David Perron, another interesting player.
Yeah,
Mikhail
he's
Bodker,
really
he was very
asking too
sought
much
after.
money at trade
It's
deadline.
interesting though.
A lot of guys out there. But as I was going to mention before we to move on from restricted free agents. or
Oh,
from
another
free agency.
really interesting name that's probably leaving. Darren Helm.
Very true. Yes,
Whoa!
Yeah.
Jets.
Winnipeg.
Yeah.
potentially.
Flyers. Do it.
Toronto.
Toronto.
Don't.
Yes.
It's okay, Toronto. You don't need to do that one. But
Don't do it.
interesting, to say the least. Well,
Very.
realistically now they have Matthews, Kadri, and Bozak, and I'm okay with
How does that sound? That sounds nice.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
with compliments of JVR, Lupul, Nylander,
Take that
Brown,
back. You don't mean
Kapanen.
Lupul.
I mean Lupul.
Yeah, because
When he's healthy, when he's
He removed the Leafs player from his Twitter status. Did you see?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he removed it from his bio. Obviously, he wants out. Joffrey Lupul removed it. I've never liked Joffrey Lupul.
Do you do hot takes? Are you like another Sportsnet person who does hot takes that's no longer with them?
Oh my goodness! Did you Google?
I don't know.
Okay, guys, Dan, stop.
What happened?
A certain color commentator got released today from Sportsnet, and his name.
Not Bob Cole. Not
No.
Bob Cole. Okay. Oh,
Why? What are you talking about?
Color
Bob Cole's-
commentator or panel member?
Both.
Uh-oh.
And his favorite goalie is Carey Price, who got released.
Damian
Greg.
Cox.
Damian Cox.
Glenn Neely.
Oh.
Really?
Released
Wow.
to death.
Wow.
Yep.
That is shocking.
I love how you both got so excited for Damian Cox. Guys, the Cox Master is never leaving. The Coxster is never
The last
leaving.
name
That's,
is
Coxman.
the last name fits perfect.
That's actually very interesting that they release Glenn Healy. I know a lot of people have a lot of distaste for him, but
Maybe it was for the dick joke he made in round 1 of the Flyers Capital series on air.
I missed that one. You told me about it, though, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, go back, listen to this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And then I went back and listened. I'm like, no, what is that?
He did. Like,
now we obviously got to move into the NHL awards because we're trying to make a short one here. But
There
because
were-
it never works out.
can I say 2 interesting guys that weren't qualified?
Dan, get
Yes.
over it.
Go.
Let's go.
Brandon Peary for Anaheim
Yes.
and Joel Colburn for Calgary.
Interesting. Yeah.
Not huge names, but the fact that they weren't even qualified, surprising.
Yep. To say the least.
All right, let's move.
No. Well, let's go back to Vancouver for a second, because Jim Benning did a thing. Did you guys hear what happened with Jim Benning?
You mentioned it last podcast, but he didn't look into it.
Well, he did a thing. He got fined today by the NHL.
How much?
$50,000
Holy
or
shit.
5,000.
50,000.
Was it 50?
What?
It was 50,000 for tampering. He tweeted out publicly that they were going after Stamkos and Subban, which you're not allowed to do.
No, didn't he say in an interview or something?
Or in an interview.
Yeah.
Sorry, not a
Whatever.
tweet.
Do
He
what
said
the
it
NBA
publicly.
does. Do what the NBA does. Hey, LeBron, you mind hey, D-Wade, you want to call Chris Bosh and LeBron for me? Shh, don't tell anyone, though. Come on!
Can't.
What?
But nobody for Vancouver has ties to PK Subban. It's like, hey, Henrik, or...
Yeah, Brandon Prop. Nope, that didn't work out very good.
Nope.
Never mind.
Yep.
What? 50K for talking about him?
Tampering. Because by NHL rules, you cannot talk about somebody in a public forum who's currently signed with another team. So, Brendan Shanahan...
It was before the window opened that they could talk to them.
Not even that.
David.
Like, you couldn't go on national TV. You could not...
You can
if I'm Brian Burke...
GMs can talk about the players they're going after now.
Yes.
They can
but
talk
if
about...
I'm...
but
I want the example.
If I'm Brian Burke, I can't be like, well, right now we're really working hard to trade Dougie Hamilton for PK Subban.
No.
You can't say that, obviously.
No.
You wouldn't, but you can't involve players who are currently under contract in talks. You can't be like, well, I'm really going hard after Joffrey Lupul. You can't do that. Luckily, if you're in the UFA and you're in the window, yes, you can talk about it.
What a tire fire Vancouver is.
I was talking to an ex-Canucks fan, and he's just like...
Oh, good.
He's like, it's almost like his moves are picked out of a hat. It's like, what am I going to do today? Oh, trade young player for shitty defenseman. Okay, who's got a really shitty defenseman? Perfect, Florida.
He's
hey,
not
so
shitty, he's serviceable.
you want Jared McCann? Perfect. I'll give you, we want Eric Goodbranson. No, not Dmitry Kulikov. He's too good. Perfect. Eric Goodbranson, Jared McCann. Lock it in. And that's a Jim Benning call to any GM. He determines the terms of the trade, not the other GM. Because the other GM's just sitting there like, really? You sure? Guys, what time is it in Vancouver? It's 8 a.m. He's probably not drunk. He's serious. Okay, get in writing. Send it over to me. That's how it works.
So have we just realized our new guy, not the Berkey, but hey, listen to me, okay? It's Jimmy. Here. Okay, Jimmy. You be, who did he go? Oh yeah, no, you know what? You be the radio host. Ask me a question.
Hey, Jim, what do you plan on doing this summer?
Okay, so what I'm thinking of doing is a PK. I mean, nothing's going back. Bergevin, we don't know what's going on, Bergevin. We know Tyrion. I mean, Tyrion is French. And Poutine, all that. But, see what you're going to want to do. We're going after PK Subban. No, but we're not stopping there. We're not stopping. There's a centerman. I just traded away McCann. I fucked up. But, you know what? McCann and Stamkos were the same now. I fucked. Well, okay, I'm going after Stamkos. So I'm going there. So, all right, don't tell my wife I'm here, though. I'm supposed to be laying golf. All right, yeah, see you guys later. Yeah, Jim
Wow,
Benning. We got
that is Jim Benning.
That's our new Jim Benning.
We'll be touching. Yeah, we'll be talking to Jim Benning throughout the.
I can't
You'll be
wait.
touching Jim Benning?
Are you touching me once? I like when I poke my belly button. It's like a Pittsburgh dribble.
Guaranteed, episode 100, we're talking to Jim Benning about Milan Lucic.
I can't wait. Milan, he's a real character player. You know why Pierre McGraw's talking about poking the bear? Well, I'm going to hug the bear. That's it. I'm going to poke the bear, but hug the bear. Gently, but hard, a little firm, All right, see you guys later.
There you go.
We have a new caricature on this show.
We got Berkey and Benning. And then Hexstone's just crazy. And hungry, too.
I like how that evolved into this.
Yeah.
Just, oh, before we move into the NHL awards, the big news that everyone cared about at the NHL awards, who was going to be on the cover of NHL 17, which was Vladimir Tarasenko. Surprising.
I'm thoroughly upset that it's not Joe Pavelski riding a shark with an American cape and a machine gun.
That would have been amazing. I'm a little surprised. I'm a little
that
upset.
cover was awesome.
Putin. I would have loved Putin. You know what NHL should do? I understand having Tarasenko on the cover. What they should do is release... Normally every year they have two different editions. They have like their deluxe edition alongside with their just regular edition. And then for the old consoles, they have their Legacy Edition or whatever. What they should do this year is if you buy the Deluxe Edition, you should get a Gordie Howe on the cover, and then underneath is the full game with Tarasenko on the disc, but you get Gordie Howe on the cover. It'd be a nice symbol to Gordie Howe and be like, Mr. Hockey died, or passed away, and just have it as considered like the Mr. Hockey Edition, where you just pay a little extra.
That'd be pretty cool.
And then you get to use Gordie Howe in the game and all this stuff. I doubt it would cost them a ton of money. You don't have to change the discs. Tarasenko can still be the guy on the cover.
Gordie Howe would be downloadable.
Exactly.
Legacy
That's what I'm
Edition.
saying. Yeah. The Gordie Howe Edition, going to happen, maybe, probably not. But EA Sports, if you're listening, good idea.
Isn't the guy named Rammer?
Yeah.
Sean Rammer, something?
He's probably heard so many different things about Gordie Howe. I wouldn't be surprised they just do it. Because, let's be honest.
Yeah. Well, they're very interactive with their crowd.
And very receptive to complaints.
Of course.
Like, I have them on Facebook, and it's like, glitch code, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, it happens. It's a video game. We're trying to be as realistic as we can, but we can't be perfect. And it's like, like, sports fans are crazy. Sports video game fans are crazier because they choose to spend an extra $90, put their time and energy into games, then throw controllers when they lose. I know I'm one of those people.
I've done it.
Every once in a while, hit themselves.
We've all done it.
Exactly.
I'll be honest. I have stopped buying NHL games. They just got
disappointing.
Same thing year after year. There's just not them. It's to the point where it's like they can't really do much more.
No, really can't. Okay, NHL awards. Give me their lowdown, the rundown.
The lowdown, rundown.
Yep. Let's go.
Oh, me.
Yeah, that was on you, Dan.
yeah,
Come on,
you're the
you
one
gotta
with the
do
computer.
something here. We're tired of pulling this ship.
Are we going like bottom up, like
Just
least important to most important, or
Sure.
I don't care which way you do it.
No,
Just
yeah,
tell me
for
the
sure.
awards.
Start at the bottom. That guy
GM
is the
of the
least
year?
important.
Jim
Started
Rutherford. His
from
team
the
did
bottom
things.
now of the year.
They won a few games and
They got Phil
lifted
Kessel.
a trophy.
I don't like the GM awards. Normally, the team who wins. I'm not a fan of that.
That's dumb.
The Mark Messier Leadership Award, Mr. Shea Weber.
The Woods.
I like that one.
Okay.
King Clancy Memorial Trophy, Henrik Sedin.
What is that for?
Sportsmanship, maybe?
Okay.
I don't know. The Jennings Trophy was Frederick Anderson and John Gibson, so a Leaf finally wins something.
Technically,
Rocket Richard Trophy, Ovechkin, of course.
Shocking.
The Foundation Player Award goes to Mark Giordano.
that's community service.
Bill Masterton Memorial goes to Yammer Yager. I think that's
Okay, you know what I
perseverance.
really like too about the Masterton? I'm not saying any of the previous winners did not earn it at all, but this was
Dominic Moores was very deserving.
Of
Yeah.
course, no,
Continue.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
but like
no.
in previous years, the Masterton was, oh, you came back from an injury.
Yeah.
Like, not that isn't overcoming something, but it's like it's expected of you. You're a professional athlete, and so that's why I'm glad they're going kind of back to what the meaning of it was.
Phil Kessel won it. Granted, he survived cancer.
No,
so
that's
exactly
not-
that's
acceptable.
Yeah,
something.
that's over-
Not you broke your tibia last year. Glad you came back.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's expected of you.
Yeah.
All right.
What do we got here? Art Ross Trophy, Patrick Kane. Lady Bing, Anze Kopitar.
Is that the one that Pavel Datsyuk normally won?
Yeah.
Okay, can we rename that?
No, he won the Selke,
the Selke.
which was also won by Kopitar.
Yeah, that's the
defensive forward.
Yeah.
Taves.
So wait, he got
That's-
Selke and he got.
Yeah,
Lady Bing, which is the
Bing.
most gentlemanly player.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Damn,
a guy who's good at defense.
Jack Adams, Barry Trotz, Manitoba boy, good for you.
Hey, you skipped one.
No, I didn't.
Ted Lindsay.
Oh, sorry, Ted Lindsay Award.
I only
Kane.
say I find I hold the Ted Lindsay higher than the Hart because
me
Ted
too.
Lindsay is voted by the players.
Yep, absolutely.
And clearly the players either they value what he brought this season.
Oh,
They thought he was the best
100%.
player for sure.
Vesna went to Holtby, Braden Holtby.
Shocking. Not at all.
Calder, Artemi Panarin, the Breadman. Norris Trophy went to Drew Doughty, which apparently he deserved it. That's what everyone said. I didn't follow the Kings. I don't know how well good a year he had, but apparently he had a really good year.
Okay. No,
And then the Hart Memorial Trophy goes to Patrick Kane. He's the first American player to win that award.
Yep.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something about.
No, let's go right now around this table for next season. Hart Trophy winner.
Chris Thorburn.
Realistically, Daniel,
Chris Thorburn. Okay, fine.
I'll pen throw
Come
you.
back to me.
Cameron, Hart Trophy.
Hart Trophy, like best player.
Player in the league.
You have someone in your mind, so
Obviously Hart goes with Phil Kessel, but it's going to be Steven Stamkos next year.
Wow, I thought of him, but you know what? The second guy, since you said Stamkos, I'm going to say Burns. Stamkos and Burns
that's a
came
good
to the
one.
top of my head for some reason,
Yep.
so I'll go Burns.
So then you're saying he's probably going to win the Norris as well. Because if he wins...
He was close this year.
Yeah, I'll say.
Hart Trophy? Oh, I don't know.
You know who got 2 Hart Trophy votes while Dan's thinking?
Ryan Kessler.
Ryan Kessler.
I said that.
You said that last podcast.
I heard about that
Yeah.
from Dan.
Yeah.
And then I
It's
researched it. How
I don't know.
he wasn't
But
that
continue, Dan. Who do you got for
I'm
Hart?
stumped. I don't know.
Just take the easy one. Mark Scheifele. Dan picks Mark Scheifele.
Dude, yeah, no, why? I mean, you could take a Jet.
Yeah.
Buff.
Yep.
They'll never win. Not in Winnipeg. Tarasenko. I'll go dark horse.
Tarasenko, dark horse.
Okay.
Norris.
All right, Burns.
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 Wow.
I would have loved to see
Yeah.
him win it this year.
Yeah.
Calder, Rookie of the Year.
Patrick.
Matthews, Laine, or Wildcard.
I'll go Patrick.
That's it? Matthews, Laine.
Matthews,
Wildcard.
Laine, or
I'll go
Wildcard.
Patrick Laine. I'll go home team.
Wild card.
Matthews.
Okay. You know what's funny about that? First name that popped in my head, not apart from those two guys, Nylander.
Yeah.
William Nylander.
Very true.
Yeah.
Not considered a rookie, though.
Well, you know
Or
what?
is
Hey,
he?
can
Or
I
is he?
change my
I
Norris?
think he is.
I'm
I
going to
think he
change
is.
my Norris real quick because, I mean, the hype train's
Ivan
already in full
Provorov.
motion. Goddamn right, Ivan Provorov.
Fuck you. Okay. Vezina Trophy. Carey Price comes back fully healthy. Who is winning it, in your opinion?
Vezina?
Yeah.
Braden Holtby again.
Going dark horse here. Unless you
You
pick
know
it,
what?
then it's
You
not
know
a dark
what?
horse.
First name popped in my head for some reason.
Don't
Jake
say.
Allen.
Okay.
All right.
I'm
First
just
year?
tossing that one out there.
Martin Jones.
Oh, that's his team. That was option
one.
2.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
I
purely
definitely
because of the playoffs. Quick thing before we go
definitely
into
thought you
it.
were saying Frederick Anderson when you said dark horse.
No,
yeah,
they can't all win at
one
once.
of my favorite goaltenders is a UFA right now. Where do you see him going in free agency? James Reimer, around the round table. I already have my team.
Montreal just to piss you off.
No, I wouldn't like that.
Vancouver just to piss you off.
No, wouldn't like that.
Minnesota.
That's good.
Really,
Close to home,
over
they need
Darcy Gamper.
Yeah, Minnesota.
Okay.
They could use a backup. I think.
I'm
I'm not
thinking-
sure the contract. I just said Minnesota.
My mind is going one of 3. Vancouver, Florida, but because of what happened on draft day, and originally it was Calgary before what happened on draft day, I'm going with St. Louis. They're going to get stability in net just in case something happens with Jake Allen. They can have James Reimer slip in, and it will cost them probably $2 million to $2.5 million a season, which is a lot less than Brian Elliott.
I'm going to say Columbus because Bobrovsky is going to get hurt again, and that's what sunk their team the last 2 years, and they don't have a backup.
That's actually a very good point. Okay, so we're down here for episode 99 of Last Man In podcast. Next week is episode 100 for us, which is a
Friendship
huge
land.
milestone. So, if you want to join the post-show fun and shenanigans, please send us an email at lastmaninpc@gmail.com. We'll also be tweeting it out all week to make sure that you guys know about it. So if you don't have us on Twitter, follow us there at lastmaninpc. What we'll be doing is doing about a 30 to 45 minute Google Hangout call. So have a Gmail installed so we can hang out with you on Google Hangouts. And that way we'll just record the show and we'll come back here. So it'll be next Tuesday, which is July the 5th. And we'll be starting that roughly at 9 o'clock Central Time.
AM or PM?
8:30 to 9 Central Standard
9
Time.
o'clock Central Standard Time.
I would just like
which
everybody
means-
to know that this is the first time I've heard anything about these definite concrete plans. So
Yeah, until
I'm
right
in
now,
the
that's
same
why.
loop as you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then 10, which would be 10 o'clock Eastern or 6 o'clock Pacific Time. So there's
Right.
that. If you want to be a part of it, definitely email us. If there's
Everyone
any
will wear
questions
their
or
gear.
comments, leave it down below in YouTube if you're watching it there. Tweet it at us. And thank you for listening for 99 episodes.
Okay, let's sing a song for Wayne Gretzky. Let's go. Let's sing together.
Go for it, Cam. He's your favorite.
All right, you ready?
We're the best.
I'm Wayne Gretzky. You can't fight me. A guy's nickname on my team was Wayne Gretzky's Fist. His
Hey, Jim
name
Benning, would
was
you ever
Martin
sign
Missoli.
Wayne Gretzky?
Well, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so there's this guy named Wayne Gretzky. Okay, he's real good. But you know, he's a little bit. He's a little bit underrated too. He was real good. Wayne Gretzky made him a little better, but I think he made Gretzky better. His name was what's that guy? Dave Semenko. I would go with Semenko. You need grit. You need
Isn't Semenko like 55?
your wife's box is 55.
And thank